I know I've already stated this before, but I think I need to reinforce this again. Every character in Scum's Wish, Kuzu no Honkai, are fucked in the head. Not even the regular sensei, Kanai sensei, is alright in the head. And there's reasons for it of why I want to talk about this. This fucking episode had so much going on. Like, it was completely fucked. There were so many sex scenes, but the message behind all of them just show how all the characters have these dark emotions just orbiting around them. I mean, Echan from, last week's episode, how she's using, Hanabi, how she's using her and all that. She's forcing her love onto her. Hanabi, she was, being with Echan for her own other reasons as well. Mugi, he already knows about Akane-sensei. He was fucked up by his childhood friend. I mean, we know the complicated relationships with all the characters, how they're just, either sleeping with someone because, it makes them feel good or whatever. Just all these things going on. These characters are just... they're fucked. But there's a character I want to talk about, okay? And that would be the sensei, Kanai sensei. Hopefully I'm saying his name right. I'm not talking about Akane sensei. I'm talking about Kanai. The one that, Hanabi is in love with. So, Kanai sensei, this man, at first, last week, I thought the man was normal. And in a lot of cases, he is normal. I mean, when you think about it, the character isn't as bad as everyone else. Like, he doesn't seem to be as fucked, like he's just, having sex just because it feels good or anything like that. But there is something very wrong with his character. Let me explain. And it's actually not his character, it's just his person. To actually clarify, he's a good character, but what's showing in this episode is that his type of character is even more fucked up than the regular characters. You remember how last week I was talking about how Kanai-sensei seems to be the type of character we would see normally from a happy-go-lucky romance? Like, that's the type of character he is. That's the type of character that, he would be if he was in a regular series. Like, he would seem like the norm. He's a normal character that would have that happy romance. If this was a normal series, everything would have worked out, nothing really bad or evil would have been happening, behind the scenes. And so Kanai-sensei is a typical protagonist, so to say. Like a typical character you would see from a regular romance majority of us have all seen or read before. And in this series, after seeing every single character, the normal is characters that are just having sex for pleasure. They just want pleasure, and that's all they're doing. They have their own motives and reasons why they're doing these things, or why they're with this person, or why are they doing these evil things behind the scenes. They have their own motives and reasons. Kanai-sensei, besides him just being a beta male, the big thing about him is that he doesn't understand or grasp what is really going on. He doesn't understand how messed up this world is, or how fucked it is. I mean, let's just be completely honest here, okay? In real life, if you're trying to get with someone, or someone's like Akane-sensei, and you see the way she's acting, or the way she's, trying to talk, or whatever, you're gonna, understand what she's probably trying to do. I think it's kind of common sense. It is. Especially if you saw some of the ways she was acting in those scenes. Mugi was able to figure out what Akane-sensei was doing. For instance, earlier on, a long time ago when he first found out about her and how she really is, he was able to understand how she was acting. For instance, how she would, do these certain poses to get people's attention, show her cleavage and stuff like that. He was, easily understanding what was going on there. However, Kanai-sensei, which is much, much older than Mugi, he didn't understand what she was doing at all. Now, the main point I'm getting at is that type of character would normally work in a regular romance series, because normally when we want to watch a romance series, let's just be completely real here, we want to watch it because it's happy, because it makes us feel good, because we want to see a true happy-go-lucky romance. That's one of the big reasons when it comes to us, probably wanting to watch/read romance. However, it's nice to see a little bit of a realistic side. Even though it might be a little bit exaggerated, I like to see the realistic side to Kuzu no Honkai, how it shows romance in a different light, or in this case, how maybe relationships work. Maybe not just love, but just relationships. And in this case, Kanai, he is actually a crazier character than the characters that are acting crazy to us. Because the way he acts in this series, the way he doesn't key in on some of these actions that Akane-sensei was doing in this episode, it makes me question, is this man even sane? And I feel like this episode, or this series, is taking jabs at normal romance series. How, like, typically that type of romance, or those reactions characters make, like, you know, getting all shy or whatever, or how, you know, they only can hold hands and they're shy just holding hands, typically that wouldn't work, because that's not something you would see in everyday life. And I feel like what this series is trying to do is that they're making fun of that. They're making fun of the aspect with Kanai-sensei and how he's acting like he is, and how Akane-sensei was calling him like a beta male, like, oh, he's straight up beta and all that. This man is so fucking boring. You know, there's nothing good about him. What does Hana see in him? Why does she want him so much? Now we understand. What she's getting at is that, like, all these characters, or this character that doesn't understand, like, what I'm trying to do, just, he's so boring. Like, there's nothing interesting about him. And so I feel like I said, Akane-sensei was making fun of him, and making fun of the entirety of the series, like, you know, regular romance we see nowadays. I feel like she was making fun of that. Anyways, though, let's talk about that final scene. That final scene of this episode, hands down, was the best scene of Scum's Wish to date. Best fucking scene. You wanna know why? Because even though Akane-sensei is scum, like, she is a heinous woman, she is so scummy, I respect a good villain. I respect a good villain that gets under my skin, gets under the main character's skin, and makes me just so mad. Just get those emotions just up inside of me. That is what I like to feel when I see a villain. And when you see Akane-sensei, after doing all this shit behind the scenes, while, you know, Hana's having her own issues with Mugi and stuff, she's going behind the scenes, and she finally got to sleep with Kanai-sensei at the end, just to spite Hana, just to fucking spite her. She just passes on by in the hallway. It's like, I had sex with Kanai-sensei, and just left. And then you just saw the screen just, like, tilt and all that, shatter and shake. I'm like, yo! Like, whoa! Like, that scene was so fucking good. Like, See, what makes that scene so good is that she did that just to put that freaking nail right in her. Like, that is it. Like, I'm done. I got you. I defeated you. And I'm like, damn. Like, Akane-sensei just destroyed Hana. And it makes me question what Hana is going to do. I mean, how is she going to react to this? I mean, how more twisted is she going to become after this event of this episode? And so there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in this series, especially with the main antagonist. I love a villain that is like that. A villain that can just get under the main character's skin, just rip them apart, and then make them develop. That is what I like to see for villains. Characters or a villain that makes the main character change, go through these rapid changes where they need to change themselves either for the better or for the worse. And most likely this is going to be on the bad side. Hanabi most likely is going to become even more corrupt / rotten compared to what, you know, she was beforehand. I mean, she's still, even though she's kind of has this darkness in her, even though she's not a normal, like, she's not completely normal, she still isn't 100% dark. Like, she's not, you know, corrupt completely. She does have some purity to her. And I feel like what Akane-sensei just did probably just shattered that last bit of purity in her, and she's probably not going to care much anymore. She's probably going to start using people and stuff like that just because of what she did to her in this episode. Now, which moves into the next part I want to talk about. Now, let's just think about the characters and their motives real quick, okay? Echon, that right there, that relationship, she's forcing her love onto Hana. That's her motive. We know why Mugi acts like he does now, because he was fucked up by his childhood friend, and that's why he, you know, is fine with Akane-sensei doing what she's doing, why he seems to be a little bit more mature than the normal adult. We now understand, like, why his motives or why he acts like he does. And also, Akane-sensei, she's the type of character that's just straight up fucking bored. She's so bored that she's fine with just fucking with people, just messing with them, and just trying to find something entertaining, which is what she was doing in this episode, trying to get some form of entertainment by sleeping with Kanai before she could get under, you know, Hana's skin. So yeah, I mean, the characters' motives are all sorts of fucked. But I'm going to go back to, once again, to reinforce this, besides just saying all the characters are fucked, Kanai-sensei is probably the most fucked out of them all. The way he acts in the series is just so disturbing compared to everyone else. I'm not saying everybody should act the same. I'm just saying, with how the teacher was acting, how she was doing these certain poses or getting drunk or whatever, saying these things. For the character to work up that courage to do that long, to go that far, it just shows that that type of character does not work in this series, and he's pretty fucked. I feel like there's something really wrong with his person. I'm not talking about his character, I'm just saying his person, like his personality. Something is definitely off there, and I feel like there's going to be more to him in the future. Definitely development slash, characterization, depending on whatever happens once he finds out, how he was used by Akane-sensei. So yeah, overall, Scum's Wish, newest episode, a very heavy episode. A lot of sex in this episode, and I know that's not gonna be, fine with a lot, because as I've talked about this already, many don't like this series because of how either close it hits to home, or how it's exaggerated, or because of just, the way it's presented. Many find it either disgusting or it upsets them, which I can understand that. I can completely understand. I've said this, a lot. I can understand why many would have a problem with this series. However, I personally like seeing bad romance every so often. I like seeing a different side to things. There's always, two sides to the same coin. You have the lighter side and the darker side, and we can't always just view the light side of things. We need to see the darker side of a genre, and that's what we're kind of seeing here with these episodes of Scum's Wish. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. How do you feel about this series? How do you feel about this episode? How do you feel about the motives of the characters? How do you feel about what happened to Mugi in the past and how he was completely warped by his childhood friend? How do you feel about how the characters, Hana and also Mugi, were sleeping with others, and then they got together, and then Mugi's like, hey, do we want to really start going out? Do you want to really date and all that? How do you feel about all these different emotions that are just surrounding these characters and these complicated relationships that are forming? Let me know your honest thoughts in the comments below, and I love you all so much. Please be safe. Chibi out.